Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video is a replay that I have for you in the Tier 3 British light cruiser, the Caledon, and I'm divisioned up with my buddy ElasticSpyder. He's in his Tier 2 Japanese destroyer, the Tachibana, the premium destroyer that is, and we're playing some standard battle here on the map Big Race. So, the Sneaky Snake is back, yes sirree. I am indeed. I spent about 2 months in California for my job, for work-related purposes. For those who do not know, I am in the military, and we were out there for some extra training, and I got back safely to Japan last night. So, with that being said, I was able to get World of Warships, and the 13,000 megabytes worth of updates that I missed out on took quite a few hours, to say the least. I also got Battlefield 1 downloading for the Xbox One as we speak, so a lot of stuff had to get taken care of before I could even get on and play, let alone get some videos up here on the channel. But here's the first one. So, a lot of things happened while I was gone. The British light cruisers were released, German destroyers have been leaked, there was Ranked Season 5 that took place, just a lot of good stuff for World of Warships, a lot of new maps, some new sounds, just very good things, and the game continues to grow, and the game continues to be more popular. And I also see that our YouTube channel got to over 500 subscribers in the past week, so really, really happy about that. And Puddin' and Spider did a fantastic job while I was away, keeping the channel going, and yeah, we're just going to keep right on rolling, but I am back for the foreseeable future, so you will get the Sneaky Snake just like you like it. So, with that being said, the Caledon. The Tier 3 British light cruiser, it is very interesting. One thing that I did not know about the British light cruisers is that starting all the way at Tier 1, you only have access to armor piercing. Now, in real life, the British had stuff that they dubbed, quote, super armor piercing. I'm going to put a link in the description for you so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, British armor piercing shells were a lot heavier than their German counterparts. The Germans attempted to go with medium-sized armor-piercing shells that penetrated very hard. They were very fast-moving through the air, and that's represented in their cruisers, specifically the Tier 7 through 10, that have very good muzzle velocity. The British don't have as good of muzzle velocity, but the shells weigh a lot more, and their fuse, the tip of the shell when it impacts enemy armor, no matter how thick it is, tends to, how should I put it? It tends to detonate a lot more reliably than German AP shells were. So while it takes a lot longer to get through the air, when it does hit, it still does a good amount of damage. And this is something that I was a little confused about, and something that I actually went forward with a great bit of trepidation as I started up my way on the grind. It certainly felt weird to be shooting armor-piercing shells at targets that were completely angled, but realizing that there was no way to hit the 1 key and switch to high explosive, you just have to make do with what you got. And as you can see here at the beginning part of the game, I've only hit 10 shells and done just over 6,000 points of damage. And the armor piercing, so far, I was not really enjoying it. And getting more shots here on this enemy Svetlana that is sitting broadside. I do about 2,000 there, 4 shell hits, not too bad whatsoever. The enemy team has moved the majority of their fleet up here along the A and B line and the 9 and 10 line, that corner of the map where a lot of the combat on Big Race takes place. So as I continue to make my way over here, I'm now turning to the starboard side, and I'm looking to get some really close-range shots. Now, the one good thing about these low-tier British light cruisers is that they have 152mm guns, and if you aim properly, you can get results like this. There we go. 2 citadels, another penetration, 6,700 points of damage. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see. So that is the one really good thing about the armor piercing, and you're going to see plenty of citadels in this replay here, and it's something that I'm not sure how it's going to stack up, because obviously as you go up higher in the tiers, you're going to come across cruisers that have much better armor, and at range, 152mm shells really don't do the job. But you can see here, I'm getting some decent hits on this Svetlana every now and then. Certainly not every salvo, but maybe every other one, or maybe a little less than that. More shells flying in on the target, and there we go. Get another citadel, third citadel of the game. First ship destroyed for me, up to 21,000 points of damage, and I managed to snag the first blood medal. So a very good start up here, and I've taken minimal amounts of damage in doing so. I've only lost about 400 of my hit points, and I've been, or excuse me, 4,000 of my hit points. I've been able to do 21,000 in return. And another thing about the British light cruisers that I was unaware of is that the fact that they have, starting at Tier 2, the access to the damage control repair ability. So just like the heavy cruisers in Tiers 9 and 10, where you can get your hit points back in limited doses, you have that access all the way down at Tier 2 with these British light cruisers, and it's something very interesting about them. They Wargaming, that is, really wanted to make these things unique and stand out, and apparently while I was gone, they took them out of the beta testing and really reworked them to make them completely unique, and clearly that is the case here. So far, not too bad. I feel that throughout this portion of the game, I did about as good as I could, given the situation and the circumstances. The bulk of the enemy team continues to push up this way, and basically, I'm just going around in circles trying to get targets, or excuse me, shots at targets of opportunity, and I clearly am doing that. However, these British light cruisers, especially tiers 2 through 5, and even tier, let's say 6 as well, very, very flimsy. They do not take shells very well. That is something that you have to be very mindful of, especially when there's lots of battleships that are in the area, and taking large amounts of battleship caliber rounds, it will eventually lead to your demise. Now, I take a look here at this enemy Dene, the tier 4 British light cruiser. He has lost his engine power, and I land a 2600 damaging salvo on him. He is stuck broadside onto my shells. There is nothing that he can do about it, and he is going to die. There we go. Get another citadel. That is the 4th citadel of the game. Second ship destroyed, up to about 30,000 points of damage. And yes, at the moment the score is 382 to 347. There's a couple enemy ships that are moving in on the base down on the 7 and the 5 line, and still the majority of the enemy team is just circling around on the A and B line, just not really making a decisive push, and that basically was what spelled their demise in this game, and I was able to just keep them on their toes and keep them guessing. I got a couple friendly ships as well moving up on the 10 line, and given that Wyoming a bit of the business. Now, the one thing about these armor-piercing shells, a lot of people on the forums said that they're very good at plunging fire, especially against battleships that have quite a bit of a superstructure. However, I have not found that to be the case here, at least at the lower tiers. As you can see, the last couple salvos that I've had, I've hit 3, 4, even 5 shells, and I've yet to do a single point of damage to him. So that is something that, I don't know, maybe that's just like a high-tier thing because you have such a volume of fire. Obviously, the Caledon is not going to be known for its rate of fire. An 8-second reload here at tier 3 on a cruiser is quite lengthy indeed, and the fact that you only have 5 guns, you really have to make these shells count. Now, at this point, my buddy Spider made a very bold decision and headed into the middle of the map. Unfortunately for him, he got surrounded by 3 enemy ships, and he is about to die as he gets taken out by the enemy Dene. But I do manage to come right around the corner and surprise this Wix, who had no idea that I was here, get a full broadside out, and I get my 3rd kill secured in the game, 35,000 points of damage. And now I have to deal with not only a Phoenix that's off my starboard side at my 90 degrees, but also an enemy Dene that is right in front of me, has full health. And now you're going to see here how proper angling will get you through. So he already has a 25% hit point advantage on me, but through the proper use of angling, moving my ship just enough to get all my guns to bear, and then bringing it back in towards him, and I managed to get 4,000 damage on the first salvo at him, continue to shoot more shells, 6,090, and all of a sudden, he has lost half of his health in an instant, and I have barely losing anything. I've been able to bounce most of the shells, maneuvering wildly to avoid torpedo attack, which I've successfully done. There's 9 fish that harmlessly passed off my starboard and port side, and now I'm closing in for the kill, as I know that he has to reload his torpedoes. 5,800 points of damage, another 2 citadels, up to 9 citadels and 52,000, and getting ready for the Randy Orton RKO. There we go. That is the 4th ship sunk in the game, up to 11 citadels with these armor-piercing rounds. I am thoroughly enjoying these, almost 60,000 points of damage, and so far in the game we now have a 492 to 205 lead, and the enemy team is just getting obliterated as they try to make their way down towards our cap. So very, very good stuff so far with the Caledon, and yeah, I mean, I was, again, I mentioned before, really skeptical of having to use armor piercing and armor piercing only, but clearly if you know how to position your ship properly, you can just decimate enemy cruisers and even battleships that are giving you quite a lengthy amount of broadside. Shooting now at the enemy St. Louis, this is just over 7 kilometers away, looking for some good shots before I go behind the mountain and get out of line of sight. More shells flying in. There we go. 2,800 points of damage on the St. Louis, and unfortunately for me, he goes out of detection. And I continue to take some fire from yet another enemy cruiser. It's that Phoenix, that pesky little bastard that's been following me, getting hit with some high explosive spam. So at this point, as I go out of detection, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I don't want to make it too obvious for this enemy St. Louis that's over here, so what I'm going to do is, for the last part that he saw me, I was heading right towards that channel that you're looking at in the middle of your screen, but what I'm going to do is swing around and launch some torpedoes, and then I'm going to go around the other side of the island and just keep him on his toes. Now, who knows, maybe those torpedoes will get some hits as he stumbles around the corner looking for me, but I'm going to not risk it like that. And as I continue to go around the side, that's St. Louis. I don't know where he's at. The friendly dive bombers that were over there spotting him have gone out of his range, but I feel like I played this pretty well, and unfortunately the torpedoes do not hit as they go through the channel, so I can only assume that he's going to be on this side of the channel, and there he is. He's at 5.4 kilometers away, only at 662 health. Get 2 shots out, 1 misses, 1 bounces off, the 3rd shell hits right along the midline. Get Kraken unleashed, 5th ship destroyed in the game. Definitely taken the carry to a whole nother level, 64,000 points of damage, and now I have the sole and undivided attention of this Phoenix, and I can finally take care of this guy. He's been harassing me the whole game. So far throughout this replay, you've just seen excellent use of armor piercing. The torpedoes, although I haven't hit anything with them, definitely keeping the enemies on their toes. And these British light cruisers, they are very, very maneuverable. As you see, they have very good rudder shift times, and they accelerate pretty well as well. And it's something that when you get into a close quarters knife fight, it's kind of like getting into one against an American destroyer. The turrets also turn pretty good as well, and it just makes it very difficult to be able to get a good bead on them, considering that trying to do torpedo attacks against them can be very tricky. Get a full broadside out against the enemy Phoenix. He turns slightly in as my shells are on the way, only managed to do about 600 points of damage, and I get 1 more salvo off before he goes behind the island and out of line of sight. Shells fly in. I managed 2 hits, and looking at the damage counter, did about 1,000 points of damage, so at 65,000 points of damage, 86 shell hits, and yeah, this has been a fantastic game. The only other ship besides that Phoenix is the enemy carrier, so for all intents and purposes, we certainly have this one in the bag. 467 to 265 is the score. The enemy Phoenix gets spotted at 4.1 kilometers. Now, I know he's probably launching torpedoes down here because he, you know, was looking on the minimap, looking at my ship, and the last point that I was heading was right for this little channel narrow here, and clearly I was thinking the same thing. The torpedoes pass harmlessly off to my port side, and then I actually make kind of a noob mistake here. I decided to launch my torpedoes, but instead I could have just shot him with the guns, which I do right here. However, luckily for me, he shoots at me with high explosive. If that was armor piercing, I probably would have died right there. Nonetheless, I managed to score 3 more citadels, up to 14, and scored the 6th ship sunk in the game for myself. I have killed over 50% of the enemy team, and this has been one heck of a game here in the Caledon. Now, I'm going to skip ahead to the post-battle results. The next 5 to 6 minutes of this game was just me trying to dodge torpedo attack and find that dastardly little carrier, which I was unable to do. And he actually ended up killing me, so yeah, I'd rather not show that. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me go around for 6 minutes trying to dodge torpedoes. So with that being said, we're going to take a look at the post-battle results here. Alrighty guys, taking a quick look at the post-battle results, just over 200,000 credits received and just over 2,000 total XP earned. First blood, Kraken unleashed, and I ended up with a Confederate. I did some more damage to that enemy carrier, but again, alas, I was killed by his torpedo bomber attack. 82,000 points of damage, 14 citadels, 103 target hits, 1 incapacitation, and 6 ships destroyed. Taking a look now at the team score, 1,424 base XP, a very, very solid showing in a Tier 3 ship, and I was easily at the top of the leaderboard for my team. So, with that being said, guys, really glad to be back, really glad to be making more videos and content, and yeah, that is that's about it. So, Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships, signing off. Everybody have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.